In this video, we're going to learn what corresponding angles are. So I have this simple definition here, which is corresponding angles are angles that are in the same relative position at each intersection where a transversal crosses two lines. So what does this mean? Let me give you an example. So let's say we have two lines like this, and then we have, so these are essentially two lines. Let me just put the arrows here just to let you know that it is two lines. And then we have what's called a transversal, basically a line that intersects both those lines. So let's call this this T, line T, and we can call this L, and we can call this B if we want. So these are arbitrary letters, so don't worry about that. So this right here is, this line right here is called a transversal. So it basically crosses both of those lines, and what the corresponding angles are essentially angles in the same relative position. So what that means is, let's say we have one angle here and then another angle here. So you can see both of these are in essentially the same relative position. They're in the right corner. So this right corner and then this right corner. So they're in the same relative position. And you can also have multiple other ones that are in the same relative position. So you can have another angle here. You can call this maybe 3 and this 4. So that's another example of a corresponding angle. And then you can have, let's say we call this 5 and 6. So 5 and 6 would be corresponding angles. And let's say we call this one here 7 and this one 8. You can see these are essentially in the same relative position. So essentially you could say angle 1 and angle 2 are corresponding angles. And then you can also say angle 3 and angle 4. And you can also say 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Right? So you can see that they're in the same position. Now this doesn't necessarily mean that the angles equal each other. They don't, because you can see these lines, line L and line B, are not parallel. Now if we had, let's say for example, two lines here that are, let's say these are parallel. Okay, and the way we show that it's parallel is we usually put an arrow here. But let's just assume that these are parallel, right? These are parallel lines. If we draw a transversal, say here, then the corresponding angles will be equal. So let's say this was, let's say 80 degrees. Then this would also be 80 degrees. And you can also fill out the other ones too. So just remember, they have to be in the same relative position. So take a second with here and try to tell me what the other corresponding angles would be. Okay, so let's say here this was 100 degrees. Then this one would also be 100 degrees because they're corresponding angles. And then of course there's this one here. So let's just call this a number, a random number. Let's say this is 2, this would also be 2. Let's say this is 4, this would also be 4. So that's what corresponding angles are. It's pretty simple, it's not complicated. I'll be creating lessons for the other positions with a transversal, so just look out for those videos, they'll be coming up. So I like to make my videos very simple and very short, and I have a geometry playlist, so you can go check that out if something is unclear. So if this was helpful to you, and and it helped you figure out exactly what corresponding angles are, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment.